The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with an urgent energy, an uncommon tension hanging in the air. The Council had convened an emergency summit to discuss what they were now calling the Terran Crisis. Humanity, a species recently discovered on a death world, was proving to be far more challenging than anticipated. What the Council had first taken as another primitive civilization in need of guidance was rapidly turning into a problem of galactic proportions. At the head of the table, the Council's lead diplomat, a towering being with sleek scales and cold eyes, reviewed the latest report on humanity's reaction to their overtures. The report was brief, but its impact was profound. Earth's representatives, now unified under the Terran Federation, had refused all attempts to integrate peacefully. The Council's proposed terms, which had typically guaranteed a compliant addition to their alliance, had been flatly rejected. The humans did not even entertain the offer to submit under a protective status. Instead, humanity's spokesperson, a calm, resolute woman with piercing eyes, had delivered a message unlike any the Council had encountered before. In a voice that carried the weight of Earth's unyielding resolve, she had stated, "We demand mutual respect and autonomy. We will not be a subordinate under any banner but our own." Her words had been firm, unbreakable. Any attempt to impose force upon Earth, she warned, would be met with fierce resistance. A shiver ran through the Council members as they considered the ramifications. No species had ever reacted this way, not with such conviction, nor with such thinly veiled threat. The Council leader scoffed, masking his discomfort with a haughty expression. "Humans may be stubborn, but they are only one world. What real threat could they pose?" he said dismissively, as a few others murmured agreement. Yet a faint unease lingered, barely noticeable but insistent, creeping into the minds of the Council members. They had anticipated a simpler process, an offer of protection, a guarantee of resources, the same terms that had won over countless other worlds. Yet humanity's unorthodox refusal spoke of a strength they hadn't accounted for. One representative, a veteran of several campaigns and a cautious strategist, leaned forward. "It would be wise to consider the implications. Earth is classified as a death world. Its environment has forced humanity to become resilient. And their technology, while unconventional, could be formidable. We can't dismiss them so lightly." But his words were quickly overruled by the more dominant voices in the room, those who believed Earth's response was mere bravado. They refused to accept that this single world could truly defy the Council's will. The ambassador who had led the negotiations with Earth replayed humanity's message in his mind. They had been adamant, resolute. This was not bravado. It was a stance rooted in something deeper, something that sent a chill through him. The human representative had made it clear, Earth would defend itself if threatened, and it would not bow. This was a language he wasn't used to hearing. The Council's might had always been enough to win compliance. As the murmurs faded, the Council leader regained control. "Enough. We'll review alternative methods for bringing Earth to the fold." His voice was smooth but carried a note of irritation. "We may need to be more persuasive, perhaps even demonstrate the advantages of our protection in more obvious ways." Yet a quiet ripple of doubt remained among the Council members, a silent acknowledgement of the unknown power humanity might possess. The meeting concluded with no firm resolution, only a general understanding to escalate measures. As the Council members filed out, each was haunted by the memory of Earth's refusal. For the first time in the Council's history, a new voice had defied them. The word, resistance, whispered through the ranks like a seed planted in the dark, its roots spreading unseen. In the days that followed the summit, the Galactic Council's once unshakable unity began to crack. Earth's defiance had raised unsettling questions that no one wanted to face. Behind closed doors, intelligence officers and strategists scrambled to understand humanity's motivations and capabilities. A sense of unease spread as preliminary reports surfaced. Humanity's technology, they discovered, was more complex than anticipated. It was adaptable, rugged, and designed to operate in Earth's harsh conditions, proof of a resilience the Council hadn't accounted for. Their space fleet, though smaller in number than the Council's armada, showed signs of unorthodox engineering and rapid adaptability. Unlike the sleek, precision-oriented ships common to the Council, human vessels were robust and versatile, with modular designs that could pivot from defense to offense in seconds. It was a sharp contrast, and an unsettling one. Within the council chambers, nervous debates ensued. One faction pushed for immediate action, convinced that humanity's refusal to negotiate was a sign of weakness disguised as bravery. They argued that a preemptive show of force would remind Earth of its place in the galactic hierarchy. But others were beginning to see the humans in a different light. They had withstood the relentless pressures of a death world, where survival was never guaranteed. That kind of tenacity was dangerous. It couldn't be broken through mere intimidation. Then came the revelation that shook the Council even further. An intelligence report disclosed that humanity had reached out to other oppressed species within Council-controlled territories, quietly building alliances with races that had long harbored resentment against their rulers. These species had no love for the Council's protective policies, which often veiled control and exploitation. And now, with Earth as a potential ally, the whispers of rebellion were growing louder. The Council leader tried to maintain composure, dismissing these findings as exaggerated. "A few murmurs of discontent won't stand against the might of our forces," he declared, but his confidence faltered. Deep down, even he knew that humanity's defiance was stirring a dangerous inspiration among the Council's subjects. It was only a matter of time before resistance became rebellion, and rebellion became war. Fearing this shift in power, the Council moved to prepare for what they hoped would be a quick and decisive strike. The plan was simple: an elite strike fleet would be dispatched to Earth's orbit, a silent but powerful reminder of the Council's supremacy. The mere presence of their warships would surely pressure humanity into compliance. They didn't anticipate the need for full-scale conflict. After all, who could withstand the might of the Council's most advanced fleet? But the human response to the fleet's arrival was not what they expected. The Council's fleet entered Earth's orbit under the cloak of deep space silence, a formidable armada gliding into position, bristling with the galaxy's finest weaponry. They were prepared for intimidation, not full-scale conflict. The sight of these ships alone was supposed to send a message. A single ultimatum was transmitted, offering Earth one final chance to submit or face consequences. Yet, moments after the transmission, Earth's response shocked every member of the Council. Rather than back down, Earth's defense systems activated with chilling precision. There were no warnings, no further negotiations. Humanity had anticipated the fleet's arrival and had prepared accordingly. Before the Council's ships could even react, Earth's satellites, often dismissed as primitive, transformed into fully operational combat platforms. These, repurposed, civilian satellites fired with pinpoint accuracy, unleashing energy beams and projectile bursts that sliced through the Council's shields. The speed of the response was overwhelming. It was as though Earth had been expecting this confrontation all along. The Council's fleet scrambled to retaliate, but they quickly discovered that humanity's technological capabilities weren't just rumors. The human defense network adapted in real time, hacking into the alien systems with unanticipated ease, jamming communications, and disrupting tactical maneuvers. The fleet, so used to overwhelming victories, was paralyzed by the sheer speed and ruthlessness of Earth's counterattack. Amid the chaos, the Council ships found themselves exposed to a terrifying weapons system previously unreported by any intelligence agency. Earth's atmosphere seemed to come alive with directed energy pulses that tore through the hulls of Council vessels with brutal efficiency. It wasn't just raw power that was shocking. It was the sheer precision. Each pulse targeted critical weak points, dismantling each ship methodically and with almost surgical intent. As the Council fleet suffered loss after loss, panic gripped the remaining ships. The supposed backwater, Death World was defending itself with technology that rivaled, and in many ways surpassed, their own. The humans' brutal efficiency was undeniable, and the galactic elite felt the weight of their hubris. Earth wasn't merely holding its ground, it was turning the tide with relentless determination. The remnants of the Council fleet limped away from Earth, scarred and humiliated, their defeat echoing through the galaxy. The Council, once a symbol of unassailable power, now faced the unthinkable: a single world, recently dismissed as primitive, had repelled their strongest forces without hesitation. The news spread fast, and across the galaxy, those who had long lived under the Council's oppressive rule felt a surge of hope. In the days that followed, messages poured into Earth from species scattered across the stars, beings who had grown weary of the Council's rule and now saw humanity as a beacon of defiance. Some sent offers of alliance, others simply conveyed gratitude. The Terran Federation received these messages in silence at first, carefully considering each one. Humanity hadn't intended to become a rallying point for rebellion, but they understood the significance of their actions. Earth's defiance was more than a stance. It was a declaration to the galaxy that no force, no matter how powerful, could dictate their fate. Word of Earth's strength continued to ripple through the Council, sparking fierce debates and widening fractures among its members. Some leaders advocated for another attempt at negotiation, proposing terms of true equality, while others clung stubbornly to the idea of dominating humanity through brute force. But the unity that had once held the Council together was crumbling. Members defected, driven by fear, doubt, and the growing belief that humanity represented a future where power was balanced by respect, not subjugation. Finally, Earth sent a single message back to the Council. It was brief but resolute. Humanity would not tolerate threats, but they were open to alliances based on mutual respect. They offered a vision of the galaxy where strength was not used to oppress but to protect, where each species was valued for its unique strengths rather than forced into compliance. The Council, divided and weakened, had no choice but to listen. The message was clear: Earth had redefined the rules of Galactic Order. Across the stars, other civilizations began to rally behind humanity's ideals, marking the beginning of a new era. Humanity's victory was more than military. It was a shift in the galaxy's understanding of power, freedom, and respect. And as the Council faced the fallout of Earth's defiance, they realized that their days of unchecked dominance were over. In the aftermath, the Council's influence across the galaxy began to unravel. Species that had once quietly accepted their subjugation now found themselves emboldened. Inspired by Earth's stance, they began to question the very foundation of the Council's authority. For the first time in centuries, there were open discussions of independence, whispers of rebellion transforming into clear calls for change. Humanity had not only defended its sovereignty, it had sparked a movement. As the Council scrambled to contain the spreading dissent, factions within its ranks grew more pronounced. Some leaders called for a complete overhaul, advocating a reformation based on cooperation rather than control. They argued that the galaxy was evolving and that continued resistance to this shift would only lead to the Council's downfall. Others clung to the old ways, insisting that humanity was a dangerous anomaly that had to be dealt with before it corrupted the order they had worked so long to enforce. In response, Earth expanded its alliances with those who shared its vision, quietly forging bonds with planets and civilizations that had endured oppression under the Council's rule. These alliances were based not on conquest or domination, but on shared respect and mutual defense. The Terran Federation, once viewed as a newcomer to the galactic stage, quickly became a symbol of resilience and freedom. Each new ally further weakened the Council's power, chipping away at its control with each act of defiance. As more species aligned with Earth, the Council reached a breaking point. Unable to stem the tide of rebellion, the Council formally dissolved, fracturing into independent coalitions and smaller alliances, each vying to form a new order. But humanity's message of autonomy and unity had already taken root, becoming the foundation upon which these new alliances were built. Across the galaxy, a new era was born. Humanity had proven that strength need not be wielded to oppress, and that even the most formidable forces could be challenged by sheer will and unity. The legacy of Earth's defiance lived on, not just in their own sovereignty, but in the newfound freedom and hope it had inspired among the stars.